Hi, my name is Ruxton-Payne and welcome back to the third episode of Family Portrait. Throughout this episode, I'll be discussing to you about polyamorous families, the styles, values and more. This is Family Portrait. Now, when polyamorous families come into discussion, a lot of people don't know who and what it involves. So what are polyamorous families? Let's take a look. Polyamory is the practice of or desire for intimate relationships with more than one partner, with the informed consent of all partners involved. It has been described as consensual, ethical, and responsible non-monogamy. People who identify as polyamorous may believe in an open relationship with a conscious management of jealousy and reject the view that sexual and relational exclusivity are necessary for deep, committed, long-term loving relationships. Its usage reflects the choices and philosophies of the individuals involved, but with recurring themes or values such as love, intimacy, honesty, integrity, equality, and communication and commitment.
I think for me, it's, as we were saying earlier, everything's step by step. We're taking this relationship as serious as any other couple probably takes their relationships. And what the future holds, love the idea that we'd be together forever, but you never truly know. But we're looking at each step as it goes, keeping communication open. I mean, we had a discussion today about, could we ever live in the south of France? Who knows? And that was like this morning.
What did you? It would have to be a person that we all got along with, that we all connected with. And the more people you add to the relationship, the more complicated that element gets.
Would that have to be?
Polyamory can take many different forms, depending on the preferences and the needs of an individual in a specific relationship or a set of relationships. Here's a few examples. Kitchen table is a new term even in polyamorous circles. This is a style in which all members of a particular polycule are comfortable and connected enough with each other that it is not uncommon for them to literally gather around the kitchen table. Practitioners of this style may spend holidays, birthdays, or other important times together as a large group. This style places an emphasis on family-style connections. Not all members are necessarily sexually or romantically involved with every other person in the group. Parallel polyamory is a style in which members of individual relationships prefer not to meet or know details of their partner's other relationships. This is a companion term to kitchen table polyamory, and one in which metamors may or may not ever interact. Solo polyamory is a style in which the individual has or is comfortable with having multiple intimate, romantic or sexual relationships without wanting to cohabit or nest with any one partner. They eschew the relationship escalator, which holds that relationships must follow a progression or escalator from dating to being exclusive, engaged, getting married and having children. So what are some of the values emphasised and associated with polyamory? A large percentage of polyamorous define fidelity not as sexual exclusivity, but as faithfulness to the promises and agreements made about a relationship. As a relational practice, polyamory sustains a vast variety of open relationship or multi-partner constellations, which can differ in definition and grades of intensity, closeness, and commitment. Because there is no standard model for polyamorous relationships and reliance upon common expectations may not be realistic, polyamorous advocate explicitly negotiating with all involved to establish the terms of their relationships and often emphasize that this should be an ongoing process of honest communication and respect. Polyamorous typically take a pragmatic approach to their relationships. Many accept that sometimes they and their partners will make mistakes and fail to live up to these ideals, and that communication is important for repairing any breaches. Most polyamorous emphasize respect, trust, and honesty for all partners. Ideally, a partner's partners are accepted as a part of that person's life rather than merely tolerated, and usually a relationship that requires deception or a don't ask, don't tell policy is seen less than an ideal model. Many polyamorous view excessive restrictions on other deep relationships as less than desirable, as such restrictions can be used to replace trust with a framework of ownership and control. It is usually preferred or encouraged that a polyamorist strive to view their partner's other significant others, often referred to as metamors or OSOs, in terms of the gain to their partner's lives rather than a threat to their own. According to Psychology Today, the most frequently asked question regarding polyamorous relationships are how the children are affected.
Children of polyamorous unions may experience confusion if they don't understand why they are being discriminated against, which can happen when parents aren't honest about the nature of their relationship. If children aren't exposed to the fact that love can be expressed in a multitude of ways, they will become confused. Honesty is the best policy when it comes to explaining relationships to children, especially since the adults in their lives have been entrusted to protect them from harm. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for today, but make sure to tune in next week for the final episode of Family Portrait, where I will be introducing the lives of mixed ethnicity families. See you next week.